Chapter 23. Night Banisher. Magical device that shoot ball of light not unlike flare gun, however instead of slowly fell, the ball of light stay in sky and act like a giant lamp. It was magic that used yang or light element as the basic, and to be used the device need to be set properly, planted to the ground with firm foundation. It because to keep the ball of light in sky to keep glowing no matter what the device would need mana obviously, the source of the mana come from the cannon itself that absorb the energy on the earth through it foots, sending something that mimics signal and make the ball of light stay afloat. The second magic device is magical cannon, like it name it shoot cannon that made from condensed mana, the way it work also similar like Night Banisher. Each condensed mana that launched have enough power to turn a house into rubble and dirt. Crush Karsten originally only planned to bring 4, however their extra help from Sage Miklatov McMahon along with Anastasia Hashin, thus the cannon number become 12 instead 4. And now that 12 cannon launching their attack, each beam capable to bring down house, combined together it would be safe to say that if they hit mansion at size of Roswell's manor there won't be any left from it, such is their power. But it did absolutely nothing to the beast that stand before them. The beast howled in defiance and rage, its massive body coiled as it brushed all the cannon that just hit it as if they were merely piece of cheap toys. It craned its gigantic head, focusing its entire body, prepared itself to fly once aga. Bang! A powerful shockwave hit it from the back, making it let out howl of shock, it not painful however it's strong enough to make it stumble in it fly. Bang! Another one come and forced the demon beast to stumble again, it let out sound that heard like annoyed, however before it can move, dozens blur rushed toward its giant body and swords piercing the beast's thick skin, painting the ground with it crimson blood. Or that how it's supposed to be. Clang! 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 The swords that they hold broke. Or most of them at least, few managed to pierce through the thick skin but majority break and shatter like fragile toy. Aaron who watched this had his eyes widened. What the fuck? That was not supposed to happen. Judging from the shocking faces of the troops they also share his thought. The blade that given to them is not cheap by any mean, and they also not weak, they already tested and the result was they are better than most sword. They going to hunt a over 100-foot size demon beast after all, so they need blade with little kick. But they all almost like only a mere piece of woods and pointy sticks when stabbed onto the beast. Squelch. Aaron caught blur of green in the air, followed by screeching of wind before crimson liquid spurt out from the side of the beast body, making it let out howl of pain and spasm a little. That must be Crush's sword. He noted as he hold himself. The pseudo-saber stumble a bit as the beast suddenly moving with increased pace of speed, this time it twisted and coiling almost like a serpent. He grit his teeth and raised his fist again, mana burst from his body, focusing to 2 of his offensive limbs and he bring them down like hammer of vengeance. Bang! The beast was big, undoubtedly so. Aaron estimated perhaps around 50 to 100 meters, making it the largest whale in the world, the largest animal in his world to be precise, he doubt dinosaur even this big. And right now he wrestle with it. Gods, imagine how crazy his life now. Boom. 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 Countless barrage of mana ray from the magical cannon hit the beast, followed them as barrage of pillar of flame, all of them bombard the beast, creating explosion after explosion that giving devastating heat around them. The white whale let out enraged howl, obviously hurt by the barrage of attacks and Aaron quickly used Excalibur to stab the beast then used the sword as a support so he not fall from it frantic movement that caused by pain. It quickly twitch it massive body to upward direction, its intention was clear. Bang! Another slam from burst of whirlwind prevent it from doing that as the beast let out roar of annoyance. Aaron glaring down and then he noticed that the demon beast still trying to move upward once again, proof that his attack no longer effective. Aaron considering to use strike air again, he can still use it for more than dozen times or so giving his mana pool but he don't want to. He don't want to left total exhausted in this battle, his body not in his prime condition seeing he just recover from coma for 2 days. And Hakugi is simply sub-boss, not the main one, he can't afford to wasting so much energy against it. If blunt force no longer work then, time to slice it up. He draw Excalibur and without wasting time stabbing the beast body, then he began to run, dragging the blade and slice more flesh, splattering crimson liquid to its own white body. He move with inhumane speed, his hands blurred and he give consecutive slash to the beast body. He hopping, jumping, spinning in there, all while never stop delivering attack and mauling the demon beast like a rabid dog tearing at food. Blood stained his armor, Excalibur apparently doesn't have problem in cutting the beast, as matter of fact it was so easy. Their resistance but it not something his B rank strength can't handle. The beast let out pained howl as he gouged out every piece of its flesh, its massive body twitched convulsively, like a bull that raging, it trying to throw away whatever pest that currently rode on its back and hurting it. Arthur Pendragon is knight who considered to be the best, surpassed only by Gawain in the day or Lancelot in term of skill. He is like combined version of the Knight of the Sun and Knight of the Lake themselves. He is called King of Knights not without reason, so even if he fighting in uneven ground he's still a force to be reckoned with, a man that's still capable to take down entire army. Aaron Pendragon though? Not so much. God damn it. He let out groan as he lost his balance and almost fall from the gravity. Quickly he draw his mana once again, surging them through the invisible air. He do not feed it enough so it becomes cyclone or hurricane, but he give enough to make it have power equal to 3 cannon, and then he jumped, his eyes locked to the beast head and swung the sword down. The wind roared and struck the beast, making it head cocked to downward in painful manner, it very far from enough to send it crash to the land, but at least it enough to prevent the beast from flying and tilt its massive body to the sky. The beast cannot allowed to fly too high, the closer it to the ground, the easier it for them and... Suddenly Aaron caught sight of the beast's skin twitched, then the mane that around it seems move aside and their countless hole open from it. The pseudo-saber eyes widened as he realized what about to happen. Oh sure dash. Whoosh. Fogs erupted from there, like a gas that steamed for too long, they explode with a force, rippled through the air and expanded in unbelievable speed, covering the area around it and itself with the thick gas. The thing about fog is, they're not like any other gas. Fog is water vapor that cools to the point it become lower than atmospheric temperature. While true it not dangerous when you surrounded by it, other than feeling cold, but when it condensed into pack that's strong enough to create mini boom voice and very close to it, you are in great danger. Aaron feel himself choked when the fog hit him directly. It's not fog of elimination, seems simple one, despite it made from magic and his magic resistance should be able to brush it off, but it doesn't change the fact it still take physical form, a fog. And breathing directly to it is hurting his throat. He lost his balance and he feel himself flipped, the demon beast finally free from him and now it soar upward back to the sky. Aaron coughed as he flip in air, trying to gain balance as he noticed that he fall straight from 30 feet height. Not something he can't handle, it going to hurt, but it was very far away from bringing him down. He crashed to the ground with boom, and he feel pain all over his body. He let out groan that mixed with cough as he twitched in ground. Great gods, it more hurt than he thought. He going to need massage after this. Aaron-sama. Rem's loud shout reach his ears and he push himself from the ground, he feel his joint popped and his muscles ache just by doing that, but he brush all of them away. He let out pant as he smash his fist to the earth beneath him and he force himself to stand. Aaron-sama. Are you okay? Rem who ride on Earth Dragon asked as she approached the man who let out pant. I'm fine, hurt and sore there but nothing much. He answered, his eyes wander around and he noticed that the clear area now gone, fog and mist covering them. So thick and dense to the point he no longer can see forest that on reach of eyesight before. He swung his invisible sword with one hand and wind roared from it, clearing the area around him easily, giving him more sight to his surrounding. Where Emmy? He asked. Emilia-sama stay at the foot of tree with the other, they healed one that injured. Rem informed. Injured? Yes, Aaron-sama probably didn't realize it since he was busy keeping Hakugi to near ground, but its massive body managed to hit many men that try to reach it because it's swinging around. I see. Well, that can't be helped, it's practically impossible to win this battle without casualty in first place. It fight against beast at size 200 feet at least, there no way they won't be injured when get close to it. You're fine I see, Pendragon-san. Aaron turned and see Crush on top of her white earth dragon, following her behind as her troops. Karsten-san. He called back with nod. Ka. That was to be expected from you. Another voice come, it was loud, brash and familiar too. Aaron turned and see another group come, led by Ricardo and Wilhelm. Their bloods covering them, not much, he also noted that it not belonged to them. Ricardo-san, I see you doing fine. He commented. Not as well as yours of course. Ricardo grinned with fangs, seriously, I was shocked when you slammed down that giant you know. I'm sure my brain went dead for a moment in there. He tapped his head in exaggerating manner. It was after that statement Aaron finally realized the gaze he got from everyone. The look that given to him ever since they saw him. The soldiers watching him like he is some kind of majestic creature or sacred being, their awe, astonishment and wonder in their eyes. One of them is coming from the old man with short hunter green-colored hair. The man stare at him with curiosity and also awe. Eren noted in his memory that this is the same man who expressed his gratitude to Subaru and one of Wilhelm's friend. Well, this is awkward. It's not like he doesn't like becoming source of attention, it not his style. Not to mention he want nothing with fame from this world in first place. Too late for that. Eren thought with sigh inwardly. Far too late as matter of fact. And above there you smacking that beast, keeping it down no matter what. Ricardo laughed. I was about to call you when I above there, but it seems you too busy on your own. Is that true? Was he too caught in his own to notice there's someone else with him? Well, he is not the sharpest person when come in battle after all. He only can aware if things related to his own safety mostly due to instinct he gained. Apparently it not good enough. He said dryly as he stared at the fog around them. It still managed to fly in the end. But we managed to give quite amount of damage to it as well. Crush said, though it not as much as we expected, the mane and skin is too tough for normal weapon. She murmured, her voice very clear show that she displeased with that part. Well, it one of the beasts that has survived for 400 years. Eren commented, can't expect thing always go according to plan in face of such threat. No, you don't understand. That part was impossible. Crush almost growled as she grit her teeth. I had studied about that beast for years. 4 days ago I even risked one of my agent to get close to it. I order him to shoot arrow to it with the same material we have, and it pierced through, granted it not deep but it still wound it. She glared at the fog around them with intensity, as if looking for the beast and kill it with her gaze, and now, after only 4 days. The same weapon we use now barely wound it. It need extraordinary strength to pierce through it mane without risking our weapon broke. Eren's eyes narrowed in thoughtful manner. Of course he noticed that as well, it was very obvious. He managed to catch glimpse of the troops assaulting the beast for a moment after all. And it seems also have some kind of regeneration factor as well. Wilhelm commented with grave voice. Regeneration? Eren asked, his voice contained surprise that cannot be restrained. It not much, but I notice it when I strike that monster from close. Wilhelm answered, barely give effect, but any wound that only equal to scratch and deep enough seems started to close just when they appear. What the fuck is this? No, seriously what the fuck? Eren can't help but clench his teeth and fist after hearing that. Having mane and skin that tougher is one thing, but regeneration power as well? What the hell which cult did to Hakugi to make it improved so much like that? This battle is no longer like canon, for once they have greater number of army due to direct support from Miklatog McMahon who is Sage Council himself. The number of army probably doubled from the original and they also managed to get more magical weapon. But instead of making things better, it not do any damn thing. Eren dare to said that right now they're more screwed than canon. For a moment he considered to use Excalibur and end the beast in one shot, however he remembered the warning of the entity that he meet in last loop, that he can't use his sword for some reason. If he died after killing Hakugi by using Excalibur then there's nothing change, he would return to the same day and repeating the same thing. Might as well said return by death and kill himself now to save him from wasting time. So what should we do now? Rem asked. Regroup to the foot of tree. Crush answered, after that we will make plan to clean this fog, then maybe we can use the chain once more to dash. Whatever Crush going to said was being cut off as ear-piercing howl shook the whole world. No, it not howl, it almost like a screech, a voice that created by grounding iron against some kind of mirror. It's so high-pitched to the point it forcing everyone to clamp down their ears to stop listening to it. Gah! My ears! Ricardo howled as he clutched his ears. The other was not fared better as they hold their own ears, clamping them to prevent the horrifying noise to damage their sense. Retreat! Crush roared as she hold her ears, back to tree now. Back to dash. It was at that time Eren's instinct began to screaming at him and he not waste any time to let his body move and follow it. Mana flow to the invisible air and he soared to the sky with burst of energy. Strike air! The compressed wind burst out and turned into hurricane that roaring, it just in time to appear and meet wave of fog that come down and about to crash upon them and erasing their existence. The force of their clash creating kinetic wave that make everyone below them propelled away from their position, no one save even Eren as he slammed to the ground with a force that enough to create burst of dust. The hurricane wind as it blowing away the fog in instant, dispersing the attack and also banish great amount of fog that surrounding them, clearing the area. Eren-sama. Rem, who flung away from her ride, immediately forced herself to stand and ran toward Eren, who let out a groan and buried in the ground. She stood by her side and quickly helped him to stand as well. "I'm fine. I'm fine." He groaned as he winced from his back that sore. Damn beast, he should knew it would target him in first place. Rem glad. Rem let out breath of relief as she let the man now stand by himself. Still. That was close one. Eren murmured as he stared at the sky. Agree. Crush, who also just stand, let out groan as she rubbed her shoulder. If Eren Pendragon were late even only 1 second, that would be game over for her. She turned to him, she can tell the other also start to get up as well. That was fast move Pendragon-san, then dash. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Eren muttered, loud enough for everyone as he stared at the sky upward. Crush stopped her words for a moment and she narrowed her eyes, then she followed the man's gaze to the sky as well. And she paled while putting horrified look in instant. The fogs that surrounding them already gone, the hurricane obviously blow them away and make the area clear once again. That should be good thing, actually seeing now they have good look at their target again. However, right now few of them started to wish they never did that in first place. Floating in the sky, shadowing them from the bright light of night banishers, is not only one but 3 white whale. And each of them pump out fog from their top body, raining fog of elimination upon them, raining death upon them. When the battle began, it was one-side fight. The Hakugi incapable of doing anything, unable to fly upward and unable to shoot fog to an enemy as Eren Pendragon wrestle on top of it directly, punching, slicing and kicking the beast down. Not allowing it to escape and keeping it pinned to the ground. It was true that it mane and skin that more tough than it's supposed to be, and many weapons broke when trying to pierce it. However, the number of those who managed to break through is not small, not to mention after that there also dozens magical attack hit the place where it wounded. The mane and skin may be protected from magic, but when it exposed, the magic can do damage to it, quite a lot as matter of fact. And if it keep going, it was clear that the Hakugi will fall in the end. Except it hadn't. The battle now take another turn, and the one got pushed back now the army. Fog of elimination rained down from the sky, turning earth into wreckage of chaos and crater, erasing green from the field completely, erasing people from the existence of the world itself. The number is not many, the way the fog come down also not too fast. People still managed to avoid and dodge the attack, they still able to use magic to block and redirect the fog path from crashing onto them. And yet they losing now. 2 Hakugi from above raining death upon them, one meanwhile seems working to clean what the rain missed by blowing fog in here and there. No matter how far they run and dodge, they become tired soon, they start to slip and the fog swallow them whole. No matter how many times they try to redirect or blocking the fog path, they too also become tired and engulfed by the mist, and after that nothing remain of them, not even their name for their existence was erased completely from the world. And no matter how they try to attack, they shoot, they never manage to touch their target, they never even manage to reach midway of their target. The beasts flying too high for them to reach, too far from their range. Even if they manage to reach them, but they can be easily dodged. Few brave souls jump through using each other as support, using wind magic to boost themselves so they can reach them. The one that come back is fewer. We will be annihilated at this rate. Crush growled out as she panted after fending off another fog that descended. Thank you for the pointing obvious. Eren grunted as he run alongside with her, following the woman that ride on top of Earth Dragon. It's not much problem for him seeing he can run faster if he want to. But mainly it because he don't know where his Earth Dragon anymore. Crush glared at him, are you always this sarcastic? Only when in bad mood. He answered, what? Don't look at me like that, I'm not knight, at least not yet, so I don't have to be noble and honorable. He added when the glare intensified. You. Crush right, I twitched, you are not what I expected. Thank you. That was not compliment. And what worse is her power telling her that he really mean it. Whoosh. Bang. Another burst of mist appear, it come down and only few feet away from swallowing Crush, only for it to be blocked by burst of mana from the pseudo-saber invisible sword, changing a destructive path to another. You're welcome. Eren deadpanned. Crush's left eye, this time the one that twitched. It official, dragon or not, she have feeling she won't like the man much. Hate to interrupt your two lovers spat. Ricardo said as he joining them while riding his wolf. They are not lover. 3 voice simultaneously respond back at him. Wait, 3. Rem? Eren blinked, where you come from? He asked the Oni in bewilderment. Rem always close to Eren-sama. Rem answered with straight face. Then she broke into smile. Eren-sama want to ride with Rem? It must be tiring to run like that. Eren stared at her with flat look for a second and he decided to clarify what the first part she said mean. Yes, give some space. He extend his hand and the girl grab him, then with single grunt Rem flipped the man in armor as if he is weight to nothing, allowing him to slip to the back seat. Ricardo-san is right though, we need plan. Eren said as he let out small breath. Where Wilhelm-san by the way? Busy fighting one of them. Crush said as she glanced to where group of people that facing against Hakugi that on the ground. Eren also follow his gaze and briefly he caught sight of two twin cat demi-human that shoot soundwave to the beast. They are in very bad situation now, our army scattered everywhere, 8 magical cannon also destroyed, the other 4 seems also broken, courtesy of the fog of elimination that eat them and the one who's handle them as well. Their army originally reached 575 but only 5 minutes after the Hakugi strike back they already reduced to around 300 or less, almost half of their whole army gone by the fog. Not to mention the roar the beast let out moment ago apparently incapacitate many men who have weak mind condition, making them into a mess that almost killing themselves or lay in ground while frothing. We have to be grateful to Emilia-san, she is the only reason why healing and medic team still stand now. Ricardo said grimly. The healing and medic team is not out from the beast target, the mist was only few feet away from eating them before giant ice dome appear and block it, protecting the team and the injured from swallowed. Yes, we will. Crush nodded, knowing just how helpful the half-elf presence in here, but right now we have to focus. She said, what happened now? There must be some kind of trick. Yeah, agree. Eren grunted, Hakugi is big beast, there is no way no one wouldn't spot them if they were a pack. Crush stared at him, her eyes sharp and calculating. You know something. She stated. I do, yes. He replied, I have faced one of the beast in the ground and when fighting it, I noticed something. He tilted his head to the sky, his hand blurred and sent burst of mana, just in time to deflecting the mist that about to hit them, it was weaker than before. Weaker? Ricardo asked. Yes, to be precise, it more light. I remember how heavy it is since I pull it down from sky before, but when I compare it, it not as heavy as the first one. Rem said with understanding voice. What does it mean? Crush asked. It divided itself. Eren answered. Heal. That. Ricardo scratching his beard, that was possible, yes, that could be it. Even so what good knowing this? Crush asked, killing 3 Hakugi even if they are smaller is harder than the big one. At least Eren here could hold the big one to the ground while they attack it. Not need to kill 3 of them. Eren smirked, only 1. He then stared at the sky, at the 2 whale that flying in there, if they intend to wipe us out with less problem in first place it would be easier if the 3 of them spread around while spewing fog to us. That was true. Crush murmured, it would be easier if they hound them to be together then finish it with 1 blow, it won't be hard giving the army current mental state. It didn't do so because it afraid if it go down it would be killed by me. Eren said. He doesn't mean to be arrogant but that was fact, he can go tango with the original one, if the smaller one now trying to wrestle with him. Eren going to cut it into pieces. That makes sense. Ricardo agreed, his eyes also observing the beasts that flying while raining dead mist to them. Crush grip her sword, activating it and making it glowing with magic, then she swung it and deflect the mist that come down and intent to swallow another group who close to them. The biggest question is which among those 2 is the real one? She asked while letting out small pant. Good question. Eren answered, that was the big question now. In canon it only 1 Hakugi that flying above but there 2 right now. The lower one. Ricardo answered. This make the trio turn to him who's staring at the beast intently. What make Ricardo-sama say that? Rem asked, why not the top? I was thinking it was the top 1 too at first since it clear that the beast is recovering while it send it puppet down to us and it also the farthest. Ricardo said while keeping his eyes locked to the sky, however to recover it would need mana obviously, but right now the highest the one that raining to us. Which mean it carelessly throwing mana and make it another puppet. Eren concluded with understanding voice, that was very sharp of you notice them. It wasn't hard for me. Ricardo chuckled and he pointed to his eyes with feral grin, I have good eyesight, one of advantage being my kin. But even so. Once again it bring another question, how to kill it? Could he use the same tactic like Subaru, baiting it down and smash Flugel's tree to it? No, we don't have that option now. The number of the injured were too many. Unlike in canon, the troops' number is more, and they can't bring it down without risking those who wounded, and their chance if Hakugiai get close to them it could wipe them out as well. Of all thing. He cursed under his breath. The number of army become burden instead advantage now. How the heck he going to kill it? For once he wish he was Emiya, if he have countless swords, he can rain them to it and made it into cactus. Instead he is saber. Even if he able to reach Hakugiai it will be hard since another one in there and ready for helping it real body. Wait. He is not Emiya, he is saber. While true he is not as versatile as Emiya but he is more powerful and strong, he also have better weapon than most of his armory. Oh god, he should do that in first place when he landed on top of Hakugiai. How the fuck he can miss such obvious thing? Look at the trouble he got now because of that. I'm a moron. He murmured, Rem, slap me. What? The Oni blinked. Just do it. A little pain so he not forgetting such obvious thing next time. Gladly. Pow! Flat side of sword smacked to his back, making him tumbled a bit. Eren turned and glared at Crush who smirked in return, her amber eyes filled with mirth. I did not mean you. He hissed. You're welcome. She said pleasantly, now mind telling me what idea you have. Can someone send me to there? He asked, he pointing to certain direction, not need to hit or even reach it, just midway and I can done the rest by myself. Rem can. Rem volunteered an instant. What you going to do? Crush asked, bringing it down. It won't be easy since there another one in there. That won't be problem. Eren smirked in here, you see, their tale from my homeland about this guy called Jonah. He said, he was man who swallowed by a giant fish and managed to survive for 3 days inside it belly. After he finished the trio looking at him like he has grown second head and pair of extra arms. You're insane. Crush said as she got what he implying, it was obvious after all. It only called insane if it not working, but if it did, then it called genius. Eren snorted, then he give challenged smirk to her, so, you all want to know? Crush stared at him, Ricardo stared at him, Rem instantly nodded without question. Then the second let out guttural laugh. I'm in. That sounds fun to watch. He stated. Not like we have many choice. Crush sighed, but then she smirked, tell me what on your mind. Things looked very bad for them there. Julius murmured as he stared at the battle that raging from far. Yeah. Al grimaced as he observed the field, things look quite bleak for them. Few hundred meters away from the battle between the troops and Hakugiai is Al, Julius, Anastasia and Priscilla. There no other person in there, only them. All soldier and troops already joined the battle in first place, those who make sure people don't enter this way so they not got caught in battle is also only mundane people, one that Priscilla provided. The two men obviously not join the battle because they have their own duty and job, to protect their own princess or future queen. This is surprising, who know Hakugiai able to split itself like that? Anastasia murmured as she used her binocular to see the battle, it was special one of course, from Kararaji, and it allowed her to be able to see the battle, albeit not to the details. It wasn't hard for her to deduce that, she only need to pause and take time to think for a moment. That beast can't possibly be 3 in first place, if it did then it would be sighted by Peep. So the only logical conclusion is it able to split itself or something like that. She not stranger to such thing actually, from her secret intel in Kararaji, the great Halibel who is one of strongest warrior of her home continent have similar technique. What should we do Haim-san? Al asked. Just enjoy the show of course. Priscilla answered, the battle is still far from over after all. Ah. Al replied simply and he also seems not bothered by the cold remark. Anastasia merely cast glance to her rival in throne before she shift her gaze to Julius who watched things from far with tight expression. You want to join them Julius? She asked. Ah. No. Julius denied, my duty is to stay and protect you. If my comrade fall in there then I make sure you escape safely. But you still want to write? Julius' face mellowed a bit, then he give bitter smile to Anastasia, as expected from you, you saw me through Anastasia-sama. He chuckled, yes, I do want to join and help my comrade there. You can join you know. I will be fine in here. I can't do that, I have my duty and responsibility to you. Ah, so strict. Anastasia giggled at her night response. She then turned to Priscilla who waving herself while sitting in her chair with neutral face, do you think they will win? Priscilla shifted her red eyes to the businesswoman, then she let out snort, of course they will, that beast never have chance in first place. My dragon is in there after all. She said. You mean Aaron-san? Anastasia smirked a bit, the blonde knight face flashed to her mind for a second, you so confident to declare him to be yours? He is mine in first place, I already said that. Priscilla said, before I know that dragon part prophecy I already take him as my knight. Well. He sided with Amelia-san now. A temporary pact. She chuckled with mirth, make no mistake, he is maybe not on my side now, but in the end he will be. Not belong to you fox, not to that lioness, not to that rat and not to that half-elf, but me, he will be mine. She declared haughtily. Anastasia stared at the older woman, then she tipped her head a bit and pat her scarf, small smirk fluttered across her face, for someone who claimed to have anything, you are very greedy Burial-san. I'm not as greedy as you vixen, my desire is not infinite, I simply take what I like and what I want to. Priscilla said with smirk. I won't give him without fight though, he is the key for this kingdom after all. Anastasia replied, and I also going to declare that he will be mine, not yours. Such arrogant from sly fox. Are you trying to oppose me who stand with the heaven? Priscilla shoot the shorter girl mocking smirk, well, I shall humor you little fox, let's see how far you can go. Anastasia allow her smirk curled to grin, it shows some teeth and their gleam in her eyes, and let's see how you would like it when this fox started to bite you. Don't worry, everything will be okay. Amelia whispered as she held her glowing hands to Knight who moaned in pain, sweats washing over her forehead and she tried her best to maintain her focus, knitting the wound together and make it not fatal anymore. She let out breath as she finished and the man seems fall unconscious with peace. Wiping her forehead, she slowly began to stand, she instantly hit by dizziness and it makes she stumbled in her steps. Pair of hand caught her in shoulder before she could fall. Amelia turned and see certain catboy smiling at her, his ears twitched. You okay there Amelia-sama? Felix asked. I'm fine Ferris-san. Amelia answered with smile as she stand by herself, I'm just a little dizzy. You already protecting us few times when the fog come down and also healing many people Nyo. Please don't overexert yourself. Felix said, his voice light but there also slight concern, you can rest a bit if you want. I'm fine Ferris-san, really. Amelia shrugged off with smile. She is tired but she can't stop, people still need her help, many still injured and need to be attended, I can't stop now. Well, that was true. Felix can't argue with that seeing so many that injured. Seriously, he himself already healed over 20 people, this is the biggest healing session he ever did in his life, but overexert yourself also not good. It's fine really. If I did this people still able to fight after they healed, this is more important. What for? One of soldier who leaned into tree as support snorted while holding his arm, what for we still fighting? Felix and Amelia turned to him, the latter eyes filled with concern while the former carrying hint of coldness. How about so we can stay alive? Felix asked sarcastically. Stay alive? He screamed suddenly, making people that conscious and resting turn to them, stay alive? Are you crazy? That was useless. We're going to die anyway. He shouted, eyes glazed with fear, look around us. Half of us already wiped out. We cannot remember their names or faces. Heck, we not even have any single memories about them. What if one of them is our brother or family? He yelled in anguish, this is insane. The world is insane. We going to die in here. Many soldiers winced at that, that was true, their situation is very bleak right now, some even injured beyond able to fight again as they practically become crippled. The magic cannon also broken and cannot be used anymore, thus cripple them from attacking the beast in sky. Calm down please. Amelia tried to assure him, I know the situation is dire and dash. What do you know anyway? He spat, the madness in his eyes replaced by rage, you're half-elf. Half-demon. Look at your silver hair. He glared at her and the half-elf flinched, the world letting demon like you exist is proof that it already insane. You shouldn't even be here in first place. Oi, you shouldn't said that to her. Felix narrowed his eyes as he entered the conversation, the catboy feminine face schooled to distaste, if it wasn't for her, we all already dead long ago. So what? Her kin take more of us than the number she just save. He said with jeer, and it was useless anyway. She only going us false hope. I mean look at us. He gestured to their surrounding, filled with injured and wounded people, few even in crisis and close to dying, this is the end. There's nothing. We all going to die in here. Erased from existence. Our being is meaningless and dash. You're wrong. Amelia cut him with yell, her violet eyes glaring at him. You're wrong. Who said our existence is meaningless? We. She can't. She just can't accept what he just said for some reason. I believe that each person is unique and special in their own way. Every single person are not just someone who pass through our mind and be ignored. No, everyone have an identity, they have lives worth fighting for. They all have their place in the world the moment they born. We are not meaningless. We are something. We are special in our own way. She shouted at the man, her mind recalled what her role model speak moment ago before the battle. Everyone is not worthless. We have something that belong to us. We have something that worth to be fighting for. I believe that everyone have potential to do great, to leave their story in creating their own mark in the world. Be it good or bad, but in the end what they did is a great deed, something that incapable to be done by other. Even if we die in the end. Even if we lose. She continued and glaring at the man in front of her, her voice become louder, but we won't die as nothing. People still going to be there for us. Even if we weak, but we all capable to do great deed no matter what. Nothing is useless. She was screaming so loud in the end, and without realizing it she did that in front of the soldier face directly who trembling at her. Realizing this Amelia let out gasp and take step back. She let out sheepish and apologetic voice, Sorry for yelling. She offered meekly. The man seeing the girl started to pull back seems regain his anger, he let out snarl and a hand clamped to his shoulder from behind, then with firm strength, it pushed him down and forced him to fall to the ground. What the? He let out confused voice and looked up, he then glaring at the old man with green hair that stand towering him. What the heck do you think you doing, old man? He spat. You're afraid and don't want to fight, right? The old soldier asked blankly. If yes, then stay down, no one asked you to fight. You can escape if you want, no one going to stop you. He then turned Amelia and offer her smile. Amelia-sama, is it? Yes. She answered uncertainly. Thank you for helping us, but Ferris-san is right, you should rest a bit for a moment. He said, it won't do any good if you collapse now. No. Amelia shake her head, I still can keep going. Is that so? His smile seems become more sincere at that answer. Then, this old man won't stop you. The fuck you, old man? The young soldier growled as he stand and glaring at him. Do you know what she is? He spat as he pointing his finger to Amelia. She's a healer and fighter. The old man answered him with dull voice. If you don't like her then fine, but please be quiet. Some people who injured here doesn't want to hear your annoying and loud voice. Let them have proper rest. You. He growled. You, where do you think you going? He asked when the old man began to ignore him and started to walk away. Where else? The old man asked. I have beast to kill. Don't you listening to what I just said moment ago? This is useless. You dash. I'm listening all right, I know it useless and I'm probably going to die or worse cease from exist. The old man answered easily, but so what? He said in flippant manner, I have something to fighting for, I come here to avenge my son, I come here knowing that I probably going to die or get erased. I come here because I have reason and purpose. He then raised his hand, then clenched them into fist, and I will fight for that purpose, and if I die, I will die kicking and screaming instead of whimpering. With that, the old man started to walk away, he grabbed one of flail and sword that in used and ground. Oi Roshan! Another old soldier yelled and also walked forward, one of his arm was missing and their bandage that tainted by blood. Where the hell do you think you going? You think you can survive alone? He let out snort and approach him, like hell you going to leave without me? Adelmar. Roshan narrowed his eyes, you going to fight with that arm? Of course I am. He snorted, I had hole in stomach during the rebellion and still kicking some ass, this stump won't stop me from kicking another ass. Watch out. Their conversation was cut by someone yelling while pointing to the sky and they see the deadly mist raining upon them. Amelia braced herself as she called her magic once again, she takes step forward and... El Fura. A blast of powerful wind soared to the sky, matching the deadly mist and clashed against it, they were locked in dominance for a few moments before. El Fura. Another blast of wind come and join the first one, it is no longer contest as the fog blown away and turned to nothing, banished by the stronger force. You two talk aloud. Another elderly voice come in. Roshan and Adelmar turned and see someone around their age wrapped in cloak and also have staff walk to them. If you want to go then go, don't make ruckus. Roshan smirked at him. Going to join us, Dawn? He asked. Of course I am. The old wizard snorted. You two going to dead without me, and if you two did, I don't want to be left behind. Let's go. He said as he stride forward while tapping his staff. Let's show these youngster how we done it in old days. The man who screaming moment ago stare at the three old soldiers who walk away, his eyes narrowed and he grit his teeth. Then he unsheathed his sword. Don't get cocky, old man. I'm the one who going to kill that beast. He yelled as he run at them. Many soldiers began to look around, then, one by one they started to pick their own weapons again. Determination filled their eyes once more. I'm going back too. This is nothing but scratch. I got worse. I'm going to peel off that beast's skin and take it back to shown to everyone. You disgusting. But I like it. I going to do that too. You two are crazy, you know that? They all started to stand, what once filled with despair and fear replaced with hope and determination once more. Each of them running and rushing back, they all take their ride once more. Amelia stared at the scenery with mixture of relief, joy, and also confusion. She relieved and happy that many started to fight once again, but she also confused what actually just happened. That was good job, Amelia-sama, Naya. Felix said while giving her tap on the shoulder, as expected from Crush-sama rival Naya. She blinked. What did I do? The catboy paused and stared at her. Then he let out snort and shake his head. Yeah, you really still need to learn a lot. He chuckled, but if you keep following this path, I think everything will be okay, Naya. Amelia merely tilt her head, she become more confused as matter of fact. Nonetheless it still make her happy that everything going fine. She let out sigh and turned away, seeking for another person that need help. Still. I'm a bit hypocrite, huh? She thought sadly. When she said all of them. That was only spur of moment, while in reality she also know that man before was true. Her existence is something that wrong in a way. Aaron maybe said it is not, but what happened now? Isn't it because of her? The witch cult targeting her in first place, right? They probably target Lugnica because of her, because she is one of the royal candidate. Every existence have a worth and meaning. Hers probably. Look. Above. Amelia halted from her thought as a yell caught her attention. She turned to above an instant to see what coming and prepare herself in case it another missed. But no, it was a giant ice pole, one that she familiar with. And it soared to the Hakugi. Wind whipped around him, washing over his face and hair. He feels slight shiver at the coolness, but nonetheless he ignore them and keep his focus. His hand gripped tightly on his invisible sword. He only have one chance in this, so he can't afford to lose focus just because of cool wind. The icy road soar very fast, not as fast as him, but since it can't defy gravity it was better in a way, and he soon see the beast appearance becoming bigger. He saw them turn their eyes on him. His eyes solely focused to the one that in lower position. He take one deep breath and brace himself. I can return by the dash. He feel familiar cold sensation creeping to his heart and he stopped. He feel the presence of familiar being and freeze in that single time. He feel her breath upon his ears, he hear his loving and very affectionate voice in there. And he snapped from them, then not wasting any more time. Focusing mana as much as to his legs, he kicked down the ice pole, shattering it with his strength and magical energy, and he pointed Excalibur to behind him. Strike air. Tornado shoot forward from the invisible sheath, roaring and raging, pushing him further and increase his speed by multifold, and less than second he already reached to the beast maw that wide open. Hiya! He let out roar as he spun, maneuvering his swing, increasing their strength and keep shooting mana each time he move. And when the beast jaw open, he point his sword to thee and he soar to the giant whale that opening his mouth to eat him whole. Excalibur and it wielder pierced to the beast upper jaw. The combination of the mana burst, invisible air and Aaron's own strength was more than enough for them to embedded themselves dozen-meter deep inside the junk and nearly reach the inner organ. Aaron feel his eardrum broken when the beast wailing from the pain. He feel pain to his head as Hakugi howling directly to his ears like this, and he feel himself almost die just because of the sheer of it loudness. He feel his body constricted by it muscle and flesh as he buried in there, but he ignore them. No matter how his lungs stop getting air in there and how his ears now practically deaf from it very loud howl, he ignore them all and solely focus to one thing. Strike air, hammer of the Wind King. He yelled out the full name of the noble phantasm, using it full strength and push all mana he have to invisible the boundary field that compressing hurricane into form of sheath. And it answer his call. His world explode into red and gore. He did it. Crush Karsten muttered with shock as she stared with wide eyes at the event above her. He really did it. Hakugi, the white whale, to put it in a word, it head explode. Gale of wind burst out from it head, tearing it apart from the inside, destroying and shredding it muscle, blood, and very organ into red mist. Under any normal circumstance that might be impossible. Hakugi was too big, it muscle and organ was too thick and heavy, there is no way the hurricane would be able to killing it like that. Wounding and make it immobile? Possibly, but killing it? No. However, right now Hakugi not in its original state, it already split itself, it become less heavier as it weight divided into 3, it no longer possess its original endurance. And so the hurricane capable to destroy it from inside like that. She watched as the great demon beast fall from the sky, large part of head missing, only lower jaw and it massive body that remain as it soared down, like a stars that fall to earth. Cheer and yell of triumph appear as they all watched this. So loud and drowning. Everyone basking in victory that they finally managed to achieve. Not Crush though. Because she realized one important thing. Wait, how is he going to land? She asked in horrified voice. There is no way he going to went unscathed from doing that, right now he probably lost consciousness. Falling from that height, she doubt even he going to survive despite his inhumane power. Ricardo and Wilhelm who on her side with their own ride had their eyes widened as well, the former become pale as he stopped his cheering. Men! Go fetch some magician that able to use wind. Ricardo yelled in urgent, we going to caught him with magic. Even so how we going to find him? Wilhelm asked with slight frantic, there many pieces of Hakugi's body, he could be among them. Going there would be suicidal since they risked themselves to be turned into smear by the remnant of Hakugi. As if realizing his situation from his place, another burst of wind appear in sky, followed by turquoise-colored energy that crackling, albeit it not strong like before but it more than enough to tell everyone his position and it sending him faster to the ground. He's still conscious. Damn that man. Ricardo whistled, he really a monster huh? Someone with wind magic. Hop to my back now. He yelled. Not need, I'm going to get him. Crush yelled as she lashed her rein, urging her ride to move forward. The Earth Dragon let out one roar before started to ran, rushing at their target. This Earth Dragon Crush currently ride is special one, it can be said as the fastest one, rivaling Ryger, wolf that currently rode by Iron Fang of Anastasia Hashin and much more agile than them. It reached dozens meter just by few seconds running. Crush unsheathed her sword, her eyes solely focused to the sky, to the rain of red flesh and blood that come down. They searching for particular person, she used her divine protection to search her. One thing that caught her eyes the most when she saw Aaron Pendragon in battle is his sword, his invisible sword that covered by countless layers of wind, compressed into super high pressure air with a massive amount of magical energy. Her divine protection of wind indication grant her ability to read the wind and to see invisible things just like the wind. However, she can't see that sword real form, the wind was too much and the pressure themselves is no joke, not to mention the magical energy that cover it. It distort her whole vision and while she can see the length and shape of the sword but she can't see it real form. It was very unique and interesting blade in her opinion. That is why right now she trying her best to read the wind, to search that particular wind. If she found it then she would find him, and the search also not random as she have general idea where the man location is since he give it away moment ago. She found him. She quickly swing her sword, 2 times, sending barrage of sharp wind and slice through flesh and organ that blocking her view, splitting them. Then she throttle her ride, calculating the distance between them and also dodging pieces of flesh that already fall. She have to be fast since they're Hakugi's massive body that already near. Aaron Pendragon must be using his blade to fasten his fall so he can get caught early before that body crashing. She sheathed her sword and then ordered her ride to jump as she finished her calculation, extending her arms, she let out grunt as she caught the knight that fall, she feel her muscle protested but she hold it down. Get us out of here now. She yelled to her ride who seems understand and start running. They just in time to run as massive body of the white whale finally fell down, creating earthquake and tremor everywhere with it heavy weight and crush along with her ride was thrown away from the shockwave that created. The woman clutch Aaron's body tightly and brace herself, as she about touch the ground she roll herself to lessen the impact, unfortunately she forget that she clutching someone alas she still feel extra impact courtesy to Aaron's body. She groaned in pain as she felt her world spun for a moment, followed by crushing sensation on her chest. She tried to focus her bleary vision, blinking her eyes few times. She noticed that the man now on top of her. She grunted as she pushing him. He is heavier than she thought. Alright, probably because of the armor. She gritted her teeth when feel her strength leaving her. Apparently she still not recovered from her fall moment ago, and she let out another groan as her arm dropped and his body once again pushed to her. This is not comfortable. Alright, he is crushing her. Granted it not painful or such thing, but he is reek of blood, god damn it. Right now he was practically covered in blood from top to bottom. There even few flesh of Hakugi that etched to him somehow. Crush-sama. Eren-sama. That voice. It's Felix and the maid, Rem if she recall. Thanks God someone finally reached them. She hear their footstep come and getting closer. She also hear their many that seems come. Naya. Eren-kyan, you can't take advantage of Crush-sama position. Eren-sama. You can't let yourself to be taken advantage like this. The Oni and the cat boy blinked simultaneously. Then they turned to each other with narrowed eyes. What are you talking about, Naya? It was clear who take advantage of who in here. Felix said with sharp look. What Felix-sama said? We all can see who now injured. Rem replied with equal gaze. Naya, but we all can see who on top of who right now. True, but we also can see who right now grabbing who. That was not in purpose, and you know it, Naya. And Eren-sama also not in purpose to be on top of Crush-sama. I don't care about who were taken advantage by who. Crush yelled from her position, talk about that later after, help me stand. Now. Seriously. What the hell is wrong with their priority? Much to her relief, the duo seems realize their situation as they stop their argument and approach her. Then they lift Eren's body from her and she let out breath of relief at that. As she pushed herself, she watched Eren Pendragon, who grabbed and lifted away from him, suddenly let out vomit that mixed with blood. Seeing this, she can't help but feel relieved once again. It almost got me. She thought with grimace as she stared at the puddle of vomit. She then sit in the ground, watching Felix started to work with the maid sit on Eren's Pendragon's side and holding his hand. Eren. Crush turned and see Emilia ran toward their direction. There's several troops following her, along with Wilhelm and Ricardo. The half-elf face expressed nothing but worry as she immediately kneel on his side when she arrived. How is he, Ferris? Crush asked. Surprisingly better than I thought. Felix answered as he held his glowing hand over Eren's head, who moaning. Eren-kyan's eardrums pretty much burst. Naya. He have several bruise and fracture over his bones, mainly the clavicle, ribs, and scapula. The muscles in his hands also quite bad, they were teared apart. He listed the damage as he inspecting the man body. It clearly shocking that the damage only that far, maybe it because his armor as well, Naya. Nonetheless, all those damage is not something I can't fix, don't worry, he will, Naya. What's wrong? Crush asked when notice her night confused face. He already started healing, Naya. And while the rate is not fast, but it make his body versatile to be healed, Naya. Ferris spoke in mixture of wonder and confusion. Ah, about that. Eren seems like by lesser spirits. Emilia informed, even now I can sense they already start to work. Really? Ferris asked in surprise, like Julius. Julius. Ah yes, he have divine protection, isn't he? Emilia murmured as she recalled the purple-haired knight. No, not really. Julius can fight alongside the spirits, Eren meanwhile can't, he simply got healed by them. So it's like Reinhard Nyo. Ferris hummed, well, in any case it was good thing. He will be fine, probably going to need 1 or 2 days of rest, but after that he can bounce back. I already restore his eardrums and... He paused and narrowed his eyes, and his mana. Wow. Naya. He blinked few times before he seems become pale a bit. It really. A lot. He muttered. A lot. Ricardo inquired, how big are we talking about? Like really a lot. I can't even locate the gate due the massive amount of them. Naya, it almost like digging earth to searching for treasure. He never found any case like this, to be honest, so much mana to the point it covered the gate and the owner whole body. Suddenly Eren coughed again, his eyes slowly open and he let out groan that filled with pain. Eren. Emilia called as she get close to him. Emmy. He coughed, did I? Yes, you did it. You killed the Hakugi. Emilia said with smile. Good. He groaned out, if that didn't kill it, then I don't know what else to do. He grumbled as he tried to stand, only for him to feel hand pressed to his chest. I won't do that if I were you, Aaron-kyun. Ferris spoke cheerfully, you are injured so it better if you lay down for now. How bad? He asked. Not bad, you will have to rest for 2 days at most, but even so you not need to be treated in bed Naya. That was good then. Aaron thought with sigh as he allowed himself for relax for a moment. He tilted his head, seeing Emilia, Rem, Crush and Ricardo's smiling face. He narrowed his eyes and caught sight of Wilhelm, who apparently seemed staring at the dead beast. Oniai-chan. Oniai-chan. He perked up when familiar voice calling him and he moved his head. From his position he can see Mimi and someone who very similar like her running toward them. He raised his hand weakly and give wave to their direction. HM. Something in his hand caught his attention. To put it simply right now, he was covered in blood and flesh. Seriously, it was a wonder why there anyone willing to close to him with how weak he is. His hand not exception, the gauntlet marred by blood and there's some kind of goo in there. But they are not the one that caught his attention. No, it was a single strand of hair that somehow stuck in there, covered in blood and filthy, but it's still clearly a hair, a dark brown colored hair. A hair. Where is this one come from? He asked inwardly with disgust. He about to wipe it away, however he paused when something crossed to his mind and he remembered what exactly they face. His mind cut off from anything, solely focused to information that he just recalled. He tried to comprehend it and connect the dot together. And when he did, he became pale, horrified expression crossing over his face. Aaron-sama? Rem asked as she noticed the man's expression. No, no, no. He murmured in frantic voice. He quickly pushed himself, ignoring Felix's attempt to push him down, ignoring the ache and pain that's screaming at him. Adrenaline flushed to his whole body once again as he began to sweat. Aaron-kyun. Don't move so much, you dash. We have to get out from here. He said with terrified voice. What? Crush asked, sounding confused, what are you dash? We have to get out from here. He yelled as he pushed himself to stand, his voice reached everyone who close to them and few even stand close. Remnant of that thing, much to his further horror, everyone get away from it. He roared, it's not over. Get away from there. He was wrong. He was very wrong. Aaron Pendragon. Crush barked at him, what are you talking about? What do you mean by dash? Hakugi is not the main bait. Neither is the person who out there and searched by Reinhard. They were never the one that responsible for spawning Cthulhu. He should saw it since the beginning. Tougher skin, ability to regenerate faster than how it's supposed to be. The sign was so obvious, it only characteristic that shared by those abomination after all. We don't have time. He cut her as he grabbed her shoulders firmly, his green eyes peering to her amber orbs, and Crush can see it. She can see it. She can see the obvious fear and horror in there. We have to get out from here. I will explain everything later. Now we have to regroup, if not everyone going to die. Such fear. Such haunted look. Such desperation. It give chill to Crush spine and heart. This is the man who just face to face with Hakugi, not afraid to it and even wrestle with it to the ground, and yet. Right now he look no better than children that look forced to face their nightmare. Alright. She nodded slowly, alright, we retreat now. She repeated with firmer voice. She turned to her army direction and people that gather around the beast's corpse. Everyone go back to the foot of tree now. This is order. Now. 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 She barked. On her side Ricardo also already start barking similar order to his men. The troops and mercenary that gathering around the beast was confused at the sudden order, however they did comply nonetheless and they began to retreat, walking away from the beast. Crush already on top of her own ride once again and she give look to Aaron, I expect explanation later. She said, can you stand? Do you want to ride with me? No, Crush-sama it better if Aaron-kyun here ride with me Naya. Felix chimed in, I can heal him while we retreated. I see, that was good idea. She grunted. Aaron give nod as he stare at the beast corpse as if it going to explode any moment, his eyes briefly wander away from it and shift to Emilia. Emilia-sama, come on, we should go back as well. Rem said as she called the girl. However the half-elf apparently did not hear her call, she too, also stare at the beast corpse, her face unseen as they focus to the beast direction. Emilia-sama. Aaron feel chill crawling to his spine, Emmy? He called uncertainly. At his voice the girl seemed snapped from her shock. Slowly, shakily, and with tremble, the half-elf tilted her head to them, and there is nothing but word of horror that right now expressed in there. Aaron. She called in utter fear, something. Something is wrong. She stuttered in horrified voice, the spirit. The Hakugi. Aaron's heart began to beat faster and he became paler, retreat now. He murmured, run now. He yelled as he grabbed Amelia's hand and threw her to the blue Oni who already on her ride. He spun and he turned to Felix, go. He shouted. The cat boy about to reply, however he was being cut as suddenly his ride let out growl and began to run away, making him yelped and got dragged by it. The other fare no better, Rem who about to speak to her also got dragged by her ride as well, who suddenly went wild and let out roar while running away. Kayak. Kayak. Grarg. Whoa. What the hell? Why they suddenly dash? Numerous roar and howl from earth dragons and riders resonated as they become wild and they suddenly began to run like there no tomorrow, it as if something that like nature disaster about to happen. In a way they're right. But they also wrong. Because what about to come is worse than nature disaster. Hakugi is not bait, neither the caster out there. No, Hakugi is the catalyst, it already become host in beginning, the only reason it not turned perhaps because the beast unique nature for possessing power of gluttony in first place, that was the only thing he can come with. And the caster that control it. They never far from the beast. They inside it. And now they dead. So do Hakugi. And that creature has released from it restrain. Aaron who began to run just in time to caught the space behind him where the beast lay before start to distort. And reality began to bleed. It come out from the remain of the demon beast. Like a rafflesia flower that gorging the plant it hosted and begin to bloom. It has overwhelming majestic and yet very disgusting aura as it devour what remain of the white whale like a black hole. And the world died with it birth. Green field turned to ashen gray, life is gone and taken away from them. Cool and fresh air turned to dry and husky like dead land. Space distorted and ripped apart like a paper. Reality itself overwritten and twisted by the breath it exhale. It engorging itself with the mana on atmosphere, it sucking, leeching, absorbing them without stop, like a hellish creature that doesn't know any mean to stop. It has no coherent form. The best way to describe it is like an amoeba, a creature that has no real shape, it was inky and bloated like disgusting worm that ate too much. And then it began to growth. From only 50 feet to 90 only in few seconds after done consuming the remnant of it host. It started to stand straight despite it has no legs or limbs. It started to see despite it has no eyes in it blasphemous body. It started to breath despite it has no nose or mouth. And it began to take shape. Liquid slowly became solid, gigantic tentacle formed and become it abdomen, countless in any shape of eyes growth from there, followed by monstrous mouths that clacked open with their fangs and serrated teeth bared while breathing out fogs that twisted the reality. And now it stand before them. A monster that should never exist in the world, not only in this realm but also other as well. It is not a living being for it not living in first place, it cannot be called sentient as it has no mind at all, it only seek for one thing. Eat. It only want to eat, to devour, to feed, to consume all the things that stand in its path. Not even a minute it exists it already devour more than 50 men that not succeed to retreat. It doesn't matter if they human, demi-human or animals, it devour them like a madman that finally got feed after years of hunger. And then it let out loud inhumane voice. It wasn't roar that it let out, it wasn't howl or scream, as matter of fact it barely recognized as sound. Whatever it is it made men scream as well, it corrupt their very ears, whispering madness upon them, turning them to betray their very self. It wasn't possible, such thing is no matter what should never able to happen. No matter what this creature is not what it appear to be, it just a copy, a representation of legend. And yet it still happened. He watched as men began to scream, began to wailing, began to crying. Madness, terror, despair, and horror overwhelmed their very existence. He watched as those who blessed by the world choked in their own breath, struggled to stand and fall to their very knee. The proud woman who stood facing gigantic beast along with him moment ago reduced to weak and whimpering girl. He watched the woman that he has met ever since he stepped on this world kneeling, clasping her ears in terror and whispering words of fear and horror under her breath, powerless and become like a children as how she's supposed to be. He watched as the proud man who loved his wife so much only can gape and shaking while holding his sword, his eyes dilated furiously as if trying his best to oppose the terror that corrupting his heart and yet, his body refused to move. He watched brother and sister hugging each other, whimpering, sobbing and crying. No words of comfort come from their lips, they simply like a pair of kids just like their appearance that facing their most horrifying nightmare. In first place the gigantic horror that from the blasphemous book of Prelatai is not a monster at this caliber. It's simply creature that's summoned to feed, albeit a tremendous regeneration ability that able to recover from mountain-splitting attack of King of Heroes treasures, it's still creature that only called to eat. But in here, he finally figured it out. This gigantic horror in legend is hailed as extra-dimensional evil god. It praised and worshipped by creature who equally blasphemous like it as something that divine. In the world where age of men rule, such thing wouldn't have any mean, the divinity has lost very long ago, nothing of them remain. But in here, in the world where gods still exist, in world where divine protection and blessings still given, in world where mana itself as fresh as air that people breath every day, it evolve. Though it purpose still same, to eat and devour. Though it was not even as strong as God supposed to be, but it's still God in it blasphemous and wrong way. Even if it not called God, but it still has power that alien and capable to overwrite the world rule just by existing, like how the spider did in universe where his power come from. And thus it caused those who close to it become mad and insane. Because they inhale mana that already polluted, already distorted in very horrendous way by it, thus it also began to corrupt them, bending them to it will. And yet, it not end in there. This creature still growing, it not even showing any sign of stopping. It almost doubled after finished consuming Hakugiai, and now it also growing further while consuming the mana in air. He have no doubt it will growth more after consuming those who have divine protection. And now it coming for them. His first thought was to run, to scream, to wail and escape. He is not as affected as other for some reason, perhaps it because he had influenced worse by it before so he can run without much problem. But what good it would do? If you run then nothing going to change. Nothing going to become better. You're brave enough to stand against what terrifying you, and you're also wise enough to know that if you run away an instant the result will be more catastrophic. All you need now is a hope. Brave and wise? Him. He remember he tempted to laugh at that, more like idiot and naive. The best solution right now is temporary retreat, finding way to deal with it that more safer. And then it began to growth. From only 50 feet to 90 only in few seconds after done consuming the remnant of it host. It started to stand straight despite it has no legs or limbs. It started to see despite it has no eyes in it blasphemous body. It started to breath despite it has no nose or mouth. And it began to take shape. Liquid slowly became solid, gigantic tentacle formed and become it abdomen, countless in any shape of eyes growth from there, followed by monstrous mouths that clacked open with their fangs and serrated teeth bared while breathing out fogs that twisted the reality. And now it stand before them. A monster that should never exist in the world, not only in this realm but also other as well. It is not a living being for it not living in first place, it cannot be called sentient as it has no mind at all, it only seek for one thing. Eat. It only want to eat, to devour, to feed, to consume all the things that stand in its path. Not even a minute it exists it already devour more than 50 men that not succeed to retreat. It doesn't matter if they human, demi-human or animals, it devour them like a madman that finally got feed after years of hunger. And then it let out loud inhumane voice. It wasn't roar that it let out, it wasn't howl or scream, as matter of fact it barely recognized as sound. Whatever it is it made men scream as well, it corrupt their very ears, whispering madness upon them, turning them to betray their very self. It wasn't possible, such thing is no matter what should never able to happen. No matter what this creature is not what it appear to be, it just a copy, a representation of legend. And yet it still happened. He watched as men began to scream, began to wailing, began to crying. Madness, terror, despair, and horror overwhelmed their very existence. He watched as those who blessed by the world choked in their own breath, struggle to stand and fall to their very knee. The proud woman who stood facing gigantic beast along with him moment ago reduced to weak and whimpering girl. He watched the woman that he has met ever since he stepped on this world kneeling, clasping her ears in terror and whispering words of fear and horror under her breath, powerless and become like a children as how she's supposed to be. He watched as the proud man who loved his wife so much only can gape and shaking while holding his sword, his eyes dilated furiously as if trying his best to oppose the terror that corrupting his heart and yet, his body refused to move. He watched brother and sister hugging each other, whimpering, sobbing and crying. No words of comfort come from their lips, they simply like a pair of kids just like their appearance that facing their most horrifying nightmare. In first place the gigantic horror that from the blasphemous book of Prelatai is not a monster at this caliber. It's simply creature that's summoned to feed, albeit a tremendous regeneration ability that able to recover from mountain-splitting attack of King of Heroes treasures, it's still creature that only called to eat. But in here, he finally figured it out. This gigantic horror in legend is hailed as extra-dimensional evil god. It praised and worshipped by creature who equally blasphemous like it as something that divine. In the world where age of men rule, such thing wouldn't have any mean, the divinity has lost very long ago, nothing of them remain. But in here, in the world where gods still exist, in world where divine protection and blessings still given, in world where mana itself as fresh as air that people breath every day, it evolve. Though it purpose still same, to eat and devour. Though it was not even as strong as God supposed to be, but it's still God in it blasphemous and wrong way. Even if it not called God, but it still has power that alien and capable to overwrite the world rule just by existing, like how the spider did in universe where his power come from. And thus it caused those who close to it become mad and insane. Because they inhale mana that already polluted, already distorted in very horrendous way by it, thus it also began to corrupt them, bending them to it will. And yet, it not end in there. This creature still growing, it not even showing any sign of stopping. It almost doubled after finished consuming Hakugiai, and now it also growing further while consuming the mana in air. He have no doubt it will growth more after consuming those who have divine protection. And now it coming for them. His first thought was to run, to scream, to wail and escape. He is not as affected as other for some reason, perhaps it because he had influenced worse by it before so he can run without much problem. But what good it would do? If he run then nothing going to change. Nothing going to become better. You're brave enough to stand against what terrifying you, and you're also wise enough to know that if you run away an instant the result will be more catastrophic. All you need now is a hope. Brave and wise? Him. He remember he tempted to laugh at that, more like idiot and naive. The best solution right now is temporary retreat, finding way to deal with it that more safer. And yet, hope can't solve anything, but it can lead you to the right path. When people in despair, their only salvation is hope, and through it they can accomplish amazing feat despite being cornered. And yet, here he now. He found himself walking forward, passing through men and women that crying and kneeling in despair. Hope is what make people strong. It is the reason why people band together. It is what people fighting for, and it is what they fight with when all else is lost. If he survived through this, if he managed to stay alive, you're going to die. A word spoken by entity that warning him in previous timeline resonated within his ears, and yet, he found himself didn't care anymore. He no longer afraid. He going to give Tyr hug and kiss alright, or better, he going to take her in, even that was not equal to what she has give to him. If he survived through this. And so he straightened his back, ignoring his body that already injured and in pain, ignoring his mana that probably won't enough or his body that not yet too accustomed with the amount of power he going to use, he ignore them all and keep walking, until he make distance with the army. Then he raise his sword. Wind roared from the invisible sheath, blaring and howling. The previously compressed wind surges around him chaotically, creating a vacuum as it diffuses into the air with enough force to knock everyone away. However, it did not become hurricane or typhoon like every time he call upon it, instead it gone an instant it appear. And the world was bathed in all the color of the morning dawn suggested music, type moon orchestra / vocal, wave, Excalibur / zero. It shone so brightly almost like a second sun, the night banisher has nothing compared to it. It should have been painful to look giving it brightness, it should have blinded everyone who stare upon it due to it light, but it was anything but painful or blinding. Just like when the image of majestic creature on top of him when he hold the royal badge, it was very clear for everyone, and they feel warmth come from them. King. Countless particles of gold started to gather out of nowhere. Little sphere of golden fire, they moved like fireflies that flying around, they like a moths that attracted to the sun as they weaving around the sword that illuminate the darkness. King. Their number continued to increase, from dozens into hundreds, from hundreds into thousands, and from thousands into millions. They all surge forward to the sword that seems call upon them, gathering together in beautiful and sacred way. Not even the mad world that threatening to swallow them able to pollute these light. The madness leave from people mind, they all banished and purified, the light wouldn't accept madness into it, it wouldn't let any harm befell to those who it protect, it won't allow them to be controlled by darkness any longer. King. And then they heard voices. The voices was strange. They are distorted, hoarse, rough, they are consisted of multiple voices. Children, teenager, men, women, old people. It as if 100 become one, many become one. And yet, the voice is somehow not uncomfortable. It did not feels wrong. As matter of fact they feels warm. Our king. And then they come. People gasped and let out shocked voices as they saw what coming. They come from the sky, they fell like a rain, their color are infinite, ranged from white to black in any shape and in any way. They are like golden fireflies that surround them and illuminating the night. These are lesser spirits. And there are more than 1,000 of them. Our king, our beloved king, king of all of us, destined king, our only king. They spoke again as one and they soared down, they joined with their golden counterpart, weaving around playfully like children that chasing butterfly in beautiful way. King. Then they began to roar, king. 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 They chanted, they cheered, they shouted as they gather around the man who hold over single sword that command them and represent of anything that they desire, everything that they wishes, everything that they hope. And they all become pillar of light that pierce the very sky of heaven itself, a holy and sacred light that banish the darkness and evil in any form, divine light that bring justice, salvation and answer all of those prayer that uttered when they were wrecked mess of sobbing and wailing. And the world only can hold their breath as they watching what stand before them. It is a sword that cannot be called beautiful because of its appearance, for the description of beautiful will only dirty it. It is instead sacred treasure, the manifestation of mankind's greatest desire, it the crystallization of the prayer named glory, and everything etched in the hearts of those who are scattered at the sword's radiance. Emilia watched as the sword of legend, the holiest sword that ever exist, was held in the hand of the greatest man she ever known. She could not look away as she listened to the spirits that singing and shouting in joy and melodic voice, all her fear and horror was washed away by their lullaby and beautiful sight in front of her. Her hand stretched, trying to reach for the man that now stand between them and the abomination, trying to reach those light that so. She felt a pair of arms warp around her, interrupting her from stepping forward and encasing her in a familiar warmth. "You're beautiful, Emilia." A nostalgic voice, one she hadn't recognized but at same time seemed so familiar, whispered to her ear, "I love you." She turned her head to look over her shoulders, and tears spilled over her eyes. Aunt Fortuna. The name was foreign for her and yet, somehow it managed to dig through her mind and uttered out from her mouth, and when they did it bring deep joy from within her heart. The silver-haired elf smiled down to her, face filled with nothing but love. "I love you. We love you." Emilia turned again and this time stand before her is a man, clad in black clerical robe, having tough yet gentle expression and also short dark green hair that cut neatly. "Jigyus?" She rasped out, another foreign name, but again, it bring joy and warm to her heart when she call him out. "I'm sorry for what I had done to you, Emilia-sama." He spoke in regretful and ashamed voice, "for leaving you alone and drown in my own madness." "No. It's not your fault." "What happened?" "What happened is..." She can't remember, but she knew Gyus is not in fault, it's not his fault at all, he is just a victim, it must be because of me. Right? It must be because Emilia know this. Fortuna continued with lovely voice, "You are loved and deserve to be. Your father and mother love you, Gyus love you, I love you. I. The half-elf choked in her tears, "I deserve to be loved. But I'm half-elf. I am not pure. My existence is wrong. I am sin. Is it matter?" Gyus asked, "I believe, what Pendragon-sama said is right, every individual is priceless. Every single person have their place in the world. Be but it's selfish." Emilia cried out to him, "And my people. I can't be selfish. And why you can't, Emilia?" Fortuna asked softly, "Selfish is nature of all living being." She said, "Stop being harsh on yourself and embrace it. Aunt. Gules. Emilia slid down to her knee, tears spilled endlessly from her eyes as she stared at the man and woman who love her. Your father and mother was happy when you born. Fortuna said kindly, they said you're the most beautiful girl they ever seen. They love you, and so do we, even if you are sin-given form, even if you are witch, it will never change our mind. We will always love you. Gules added, it's okay to seek for pleasure and being selfish, you not need to push yourself anymore. All living being is selfish in a way, and you are living being too, Emilia-sama. Emilia stared at the two phantom image that she barely remember, their warm and loving smile, their serene and genuine gaze. It was too much for her as she broke into wail. I'm living being. I want to be selfish. She cried out, I love you too. I love Puck. I love Rem. I love Ram. I love everyone who has given me chance. I love Aaron. And I want to be loved back by them. She declared with tears washing over her face. But the tears that streaming down from there is not one that carries sadness and despair, but joy and relief. Relief that there are people who love her, relief that it actually fine for her to be selfish without judged. For the first time after years, Emilia cried in happiness, accompanied by people who love her. Puck. Take care of her. I know you there, sleeping, but I'm sure you can hear me. Fortuna whispered to the pendant in her niece's chest, for me, take care of her. The stone that glowing slightly is enough to tell her that the spirit is aware of what's happening now and answering her question. The nostalgic, sorrowful, and hallowed dreams of those who were placed on the bloody hell called a battlefield, of all warriors past, present, and future fully exposed to the fear of death and despair, and yet who still cling to a desire, to be exalted. You look troubled, Crush. Why? It's not like you to put that kind of face. He asked. Crush Karsten's fist clenched, her lower lip bitten, her chest feels so tight despite the armor she wore is loosened in that area. I. She was lost of words as she looked at her long-lost friend, Fourier. I'm sorry. I can't. Your legacy. She rasped out, throats dry and she feel her eyes stung, I cannot fulfill it. My legacy? Fourier tilted his head, what are you talking about? The emblem you gave to me. The symbol of lion. I cannot carry it to the throne. She said with voice of shame everything I had done and worked for. It slowly began to crumble, it's still there but in the end it only matter of time before. Carrying symbol of lion to the throne. Fourier blinked, then he smiled, his red eyes tainted with amusement, silly, I do not care of such thing, surely you must know that. What? Crush blinked back, shock evident in her voice. Don't take it wrong, I would love to see our kingdom back like a lion but that was not my main dream. Fourier chuckled, seriously Crush, you are so dense. He sighed, what I dreamed was, for you to be happy, that's all matter for me. You not need to carry such burden in your shoulder Crush, I'm already proud to what you become right now. Don't push yourself too much. It can't be like that. Crush protested, it can't be simple like that. Why not? Fourier asked, you said your dream can't be carried anymore, tell me why. It's... Crush grit her teeth and clench her fist, it's the prophecy. Ah, yes, I know about that. Fourier nodded with sage expression, so. What so? Crush asked. Does he have scale on his body? Fourier asked while gesturing to the knight that hold the sword of legend. Wah. No. Does he have claw? No. Does he have fangs? How about wings? Fourier. I'm serious. Crush said with irritated voice, and the answer is no. Then I fail to see which part of him can be called dragon. Fourier replied. It's not that simple Fourier. Why not? Fourier asked again, his voice laced with exasperation, you always like that. Why making things so complicated? He asked, will you blame him because his blood? Isn't that just same like how Felix's parent treat him? I. Crush feel deep shame coiling in her stomach and she flinched as if she just got slapped, I know that. She whispered in weak voice, I know that. Good, you know it, you realize your mistake, it mean you can learn from it. Fourier chuckled, beside, your dream is not end, why you think it's problem even if he have blood of dragon? Crush blinked in confusion, what? And yada, he shall yada, and stand behind the new king. Fourier recited the prophecy, see that part. stand behind the new king. He won't be the ruler, you would be. It's not working like that. Crush shook his head, people still going to see it as blessing of the dragon. Pfft, as if that matter. Then change it. After you cut connection with Volcanica, establish new rule and symbol, use the dragon instead, ask for help from him. He said, I mean, you are given dragon here, not lent but given. Use him, he said it himself, he is no different than Saint Sword. That. Crush frowned slightly, that sounds disrespectful. Do you think someone like him will care? Fourier asked while gesturing to Aaron, alright, he will, but what I mean is, does he will give a thought even if you take the credit or drag the dragon name to mud? Crush stared at her friend, then to the man who stand bravely in front of Eldritch Abomination and surrounded in golden moths. She remembered their brief and short banter to annoy each other, and she come to one conclusion. No. She murmured softly, no, he won't. He believe in an individual, in each person, he doesn't care about his dragon heritage. So would it matter if it not worshipped and used simply as symbol? No, it wouldn't matter to him. There, problem solved. Fourier made, aha, expression, seriously, just what you have accomplished. Without me you seems become less sharp and lack common sense. Crush stared at him with flat face, if you weren't already dead I would smack you using this. She said while raising her sword. Well thanks God I already dead then. Fourier replied with smirk. Both of them laughed at that despite it sounded morbid. However for Crush the laugh she let out contained not only joy for seeing her friend again but also enlightenment. Because she now aware that her dream is never died. And it will never be. Dream will change, dream will be forgotten, dream be replaced. But never it will gone, it is never ending, it will always be there, stay still and waiting for the dreamer to pause in their step and take a look at them once more. It is the light that continues to shines in the darkest of nights no matter what. The light that always there inside us, defiance at those who will try to extinguish the good in us. No corruption or brutality will able to smear or taint it. Why do you take up the sword? Wilhelm Astrea stare with longing gaze at the translucent figure of his beloved that smiling at him, her red vibrant hair waving and breezing under the wind like a flag. She is beautiful as he remember, angel that given form for him. I take it up. Wilhelm voice dry yet also strong, his blue eyes locked to his wife in painful yet also joy light, to protect you. He confessed aloud, something that I failed to do. He spoke in anguish and self-loathing, I failed to protect you. Theoresia von Astrea simply smiled to her husband in beautiful manner, it's not your fault. It is. Theoresia. It is. Wilhelm feel himself return to his young body for a moment, tears threatening to spill from his eyes as he look at his wife with a shamed gaze, it because of my weakness. I let you go. And because of that He choked in his own voice as he clenched his fist that shaking. You're wrong. Theoresia replied softly, you're wrong. I go because I have to, it's not burden or anything, I go because I want to, that's all. It's my own decision in the end. I supposetto be the one that go. I swear to taking sword for your name. You should never be there in first place. You should never. And it will be our son that lost if I don't go. Theoresia whispered, were you hate him that much before my demise that you willing to let him go to his dead? No. Of course no. Wilhelm denied, no matter what Heinkel will always be his son. He love his wife than him, yes, but it doesn't mean he did not love him, it should be never Heinkel or you. It should be main first place. You have your mission, more important one. Theoresia said, daughter of royal family is missing. My expedition is supposed to be not that important in first place, what happened is out of our control. She comforted her husband as she placed one hand and caressed his cheek, it's time to let it go and return to your original dream, to first reason why you take sword. Reason? Wilhelm questioned with strained voice, Theoresia, you are my reason, without you I have nothing. Theoresia leaned forward, she pressed her forehead to him and stared directly in his eyes, you're wrong. Don't you remember what I said when you told us you finally become knight? He remember, of course he did. There never once that he ever forget anything that related to her, he rather die and live in hell than doing that. A knight. He muttered in low voice, is someone who protects another. Her eyes crinkled, she let out approving, as she leaned back slightly, that was your dream and purpose wasn't it? Wasn't it time to return to it? To finally made peace with yourself? To our family once again? Wilhelm was lost of words as he stared at his wife who staring back at him with sad but also joyful smile. "Do you love flowers?" she asked. And with that question Wilhelm found himself back to that day, back to the day when they stood facing each other, to the day when he take her sword away and become one for her. "I don't hate them anymore," he answered, his strict and tough face melted to smile. "Why do you take up the sword?" she asked again. Wilhelm paused, his eyes showing hint of fragility but only for a short time before pure determination crushed them all. "I take it up to protect someone," he said straightly, his hand encircle her waist and pull her to him. The smile his wife give to him is radiant and warm, it also so bright that it banishing any darkness that poison his heart. "Then do you love me?" she asked. Wilhelm's smile widened, tears spilled over his eyes, streaming down to his face as he began to shake. "Yes. Yes," he confessed with firm voice despite his wet face. "I love you, Theoresia van Astrea." And with that he draw his wife closer to him and give one final kiss to her. It is forged by an human hand, by the will of planet itself, but it made from mankind desires, their greatest wishes. It born from their very heart and dream, their hope and prayer. As long as it shines it give brilliance and blessing of joy to those who seek it. This is. She fall to her knee as she watched the pillar of light from this distance. Gone everything around her, she feel it was only her and the light that shine like a divine being. Her breath hitched, her chest feel heavy, no further words seems able to escape from her lips as she stare at the light that blinding the world. This is. What is this feeling inside her heart? "From now on you will be the one who handle this store, I expect no less from you, all right Anastasia? You do this man proud to have you in his shop." What is this feeling that coiling and warming her inside? "Ah, young lady, I see you have talent, not just simple but special one. You're very sharp and brilliant girl, aren't you? I never meet someone like you, I feel you will become bright one in future gal." She never feels such intense emotion in her life. What is this thing that now burying themselves in her very heart? "You're one of kind girl. I had seen many like you but none of them managed to reach at this level, it almost like Hosh in the wilderness. Though I never meet or talk to him directly since he has long dead but be proud to what you have achieved until now young lady." Ah. Yes. She recognized this feeling. She know what this warm feeling. She finally know it. "Echidna. Do you feel it too?" she murmured to her scarf, voice so low and went unheard by those who near her also mesmerized by the holy light. "I feel it." The spirit voice was filled with bewilderment and indecipherable tone. "I feel it. It's great, isn't it?" she choked out, her lips curled to beautiful smile as she watched the light. "It's very great GHT. She trailed when noticed that her cheeks were wet. She tentatively touched them, and she sensed their water in there, tears. It was her own tears, she was crying. "I cry?" she asked in disbelief voice, from this feeling. She not stranger to tears, she had cry in past after all, however for her to cry from something like this. Somehow it only make the warmth inside her become more pleasant. "It's great." Echidna muttered, her voice contained happiness. "It's so great." The artificial spirit also seems at loss in her own feeling as she stopped talking and bask in the emotion that foreign for her. Anastasia began to laugh. Her cheeks hurt from spreading too wide, her throat started to feel hoarse from laughing too much, her eyes stinging because of the tears that keep spilling. But she never stopped laughing with joy. Because for the first time ever since 11 years, she finally can feel contentment once again. It is the sword that saved the world once when Titan that slay gods and turned earth to dirt. It is sword that unyielding for 10 years, undefeated in 12 battles. These peerless feats of arms and this glory were eternal, transcending even time itself. And it is too heavy for him. "I can't swing it down." The young man feel his body crushed and binded by very strong grip, it was constricting and heavy, almost like in the belly of snake. He feel his very body burn from inside just by activating it. The pillar of light that shattered the eldritch abomination still held high and proud in the sky, it never once diminished and as matter of fact it seems become brighter and greater in magnitude. And yet he can't swing it down. He don't know why, don't know how, but he found himself can't swing the sword. Is it because he not King Arthur? Is it because he not worthy? Is it because he is nothing but a coward and pathetic man without the strength he gained? If it's true, no matter which one from above. Then, everything is. He feel pair of hand touch his that gripped the sword from behind and he tensed. The hands was different from each other, the one from his left is larger than the right. Then he saw them. Their sword shines, a dream that all warriors scattered in battle, past, present and future, hold and mournfully exalt as their final moments approach. He saw their faces that leaned to both his side. It was hard to see them since they were on corner of his vision, but he still managed to. One is look like him, as matter of fact it's almost like staring in mirror, that angular chin, those cheeks, those eyes, and that lips. Exactly identical and same to his, no one would dare to oppose that exclamation. The other meanwhile also same, however it is not identical, that face for one is more soft and feminine, the lips also seems more softer. It almost like staring at the female version of the first face. Then he feel their gazes to him, their eyes bore to his, filled with intensity, it as if they judging him. And then they give him nod. And he found himself nodded as well. They carries their will as their pride, bidding them to remain steadfast in their loyalty. So what if he is not the real King Arthur? This sword purpose ever since it born is never change and stray, it is sword that bring victory, it is sword that save the world. From the evil god that represent all evil of the mankind, to the apocalypse that given form of white titan. It is sword that save the world. And that exactly what it going to do now. And now, the undefeated king sings aloud the name of the miracle they holds in their hands. Its name is X-. The light that pierced the sky itself began to roar as the name began to be chanted, the very world seemed shake as the golden aura blared and intensified, and the king take few steps, ready to swung those light down. The eldritch abomination that stood far away from him began to extend its massive hand, its blasphemous mouth letting out inhumane voice of defiance as it trying to reach him, trying to crush the mortal that hold the light, trying to stop its own demise. Excalibur. Light galloped. Light roared. The prana, accelerated by the factor of the released dragon, became a streak of light, a swirling and surging torrent of brightness with overwhelming power that dislocated and burned everything that stand in its path and dare to oppose it. The moment the colossal light bring down, before even the holy power touch it, the gigantic horror's massive hand already evaporated, the regeneration that instant reduced into nothing but ash, not even single atom of it remained. Then the golden beam hit the gigantic abomination body fully, devouring it whole, and in less than second nothing of it remained, its existence burned down to the very core. Only scorched land and blackened ground that left from the light rampage, followed by forest that turned into ash as the colossal beam passed through the abomination and consumed them in their rage. But even so the beam still continued, it's still blaring, not even its power diminished a bit after swallowed the gigantic horror and the forest, it still continued to soar through and made the night turn to day. Rain come down to field, washing over the area and everyone. However it was not rain of water but golden light, descended down upon them as if God has given them their blessing. Stood in front of the army and still surrounded by golden moths is the legend himself. The one who bring down horror from world that's so alien and wrong in many sense. His posture is strict and straight, his back looks so firm, like a king who stand victorious after his battle. Then he turned around, he faced the men who has stood side by side with him, men who ready to die and throw away their lives. He rose the sword of promised victory above him. The nightmare of white whale and demon has over. And with his roar, his declaration, his strong yell, all the men who silenced, mesmerized, awed, overwhelmed by him broke into cheer as well. Their roar seems like shake the world, they all filled with joy and cheer, happy that the nightmare of 400 years and demon that just like about to swallow the world moment ago over. Pendragon watched the event with genuine smile over his face. His green eyes softly taking the sight of happiness in front of him. Their attention though got caught by familiar two figure that ran to him, their faces expression joy, there seems tears wetting their eyes though. He decided to approach them but just when his foot take one step he hit by intense nausea and burning sensation from his inside. He feel the world started to spin, and he quickly grip his sword and use it as pillar so he not fall, even so he still can feel his legs slipped from the ground. Aaron-sama. Ferris. Come here. Their scream of worry reach his ears, followed by scream of another person that he familiar with as he try his best to stay conscious, he feel his vision darkened and brightened, like a lamp that error. His ears filled with loud ringing sound, he almost can't feel his legs, they seems like made from jelly instead of bone and muscle. Something spilled from his mouth, wet, warm, tastes like copper and he lost his strength as he fall to his knee, one hand desperately grabbing Excalibur and use it as support so he not fall over. He feels someone touching him, he feel he was being lifted and placed in solid ground, he barely able to clutch to conscious world right now as he felt Excalibur dissipate into spirit form. Everything was blur, he caught sight of blue and silver, then they're also green as well, not long after that there's so many of them to the point he can't see them all. M asterisk asterisk AE asterisk H asterisk 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 N. O Y N in NSI. Asterisk A asterisk asterisk H asterisk asterisk. ST asterisk asterisk W asterisk T asterisk asterisk E. A asterisk 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 N. T Wyatt. What? What they saying? What the heck they saying? Can't they be quite a bit? Their voices is like chalk being scratched to the board, and that was not something to be enjoyed. He narrowed his eyes, scrunching them and trying his best to focus despite the headache he feel now is not unlike hammer that nailing wall. His body and muscle screaming at him, demanding him to stop as he tried to move his hand. His attempt to speak come out as nothing but gurgle, eliciting another scream, dear God. They were so loud, from them. He concentrate to move his hand, trying his best, and he feel it twitch, and with a force he managed to lift it. He heard their scream again much to his annoyance, but he ignored them. He dragged his hand to his face, extending his index finger to the front of his lips. Hush, I'm trying to sleep. And with that he dropped his hand, smile contently and close his eyes, letting darkness consume him. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.